busting off the old strings. There's a million different ways to restring your guitar, especially with the tremolo system, right? You see this, you see the springs in the back, and you're like, oh man, what do I do? I never can get it right. It either bottoms out or it ends up way too high. Well, let's identify two problems here. If it ends up way too high, that means you're putting a heavier gauge string on than what used to be on there. If it ends up too low, that means you went from a heavy gauge to a lighter gauge. We'll get to that later. But to restring, you can detension all your tuners, laying the bridge flat on the guitar, get all the strings off, and then put them all on individually, which I like to do because it allows me to go through and really clean the guitar, get oil on the fretboard where it needs to be, wipe down all the dust and nasties, get it looking beautiful again. Or you can do it one string at a time to ensure that you're not messing with the float that you have on your tremolo. Me personally, when stringing, I like to place my hand right here on the 12th fret, laying the string across my hand, giving me my spacing, and then I do the over-under wrap on the posts. You can do the luthier knot if you want. You can just do a straight up down wrap if you want. That works as well. So let's take this over to the bench, show you how to string that guitar. So let's go ahead and move on to the next stage. Busting off the old strings, but first we got to flip the guitar over and take off the tremolo cover. Now that we got the back plate removed, the tremolo springs exposed, we can go ahead and start taking off the strings and looking at putting on the new strings. Evidently that string needed to be replaced. All right, now that we've got everything off the guitar, let's go ahead and give it a good wipe down, get all the dust and nastiness off of it. The polish looks just fine on it. All the bits and pieces, it just needs a little touch. Now that the strings are off, let's go ahead and check that fretboard radius. Just gonna jump to 9.5. I've got my feeler gauges right here. Come to the 12th fret. Now I just checked with 9.5 and it looked dead on, but I like to run all the way around sometimes and see what's going on. Yeah, this is 7 1/4, and you can see some light coming through on 7 1/4 right up the center. Now let's go one over, which is 10, and move it, and yep, there's light coming in off of the edges. So that lets me know it's not 10, it's not 7 1/4, it's 9 1/2. So we can go ahead and put the rest of these feeler gauges up. Now he didn't have a whammy bar for his, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of mine to check these screws to see if he purposely locked this down for a reason, or if not, and there is some play in there because right now it's under a lot of tension. See if we can actually bring this tremolo system back to life so we can really use it. Hopefully this one threads in appropriately. Yep. So what we'll do is go ahead and start stringing her up. Now I'll tell you, I've been using these Elixir strings since 2001, 2002. Ever since I found them, haven't turned back. I've never used another string. I like the way they feel, I like the way they sound, and I love how long they last. So let's go ahead and get our low E string on there. I like to do is I like to just go ahead and run all my strings in and through. That way it's done. Instead of flipping the guitar back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just get it all done and over with. Got them all pulled through, and you know how I said I love elixirs? If you guys got a favorite string and it's not elixirs, comment below and let me know what you like. Caveat, if you love elixirs, comment below and tell me why you love elixirs. So there's several ways to do this part. You can measure from here and then slide back a fret or two to get your length. What I like doing is just that. Put my hand vertical on the 12th fret because that'll help apply the pressure needed. Run it into the eyelet. And I don't do any crazy luthier knots or anything like that. I do the over-under method. I'll explain that here in a second. Show you what I'm talking about. So, like I was saying, the under-over method. So this tag end is going to go under first. And then the tag end is going to go over. Making sure we have a wind down, not a wind up. There we go. I like to cut off that tag end right away. And like I said, first high E, then low E, and set everything in the middle. You really got to pay attention though when you're doing the high E string and the B string, making sure you get that over under correctly. Setting the nut under the string guide, your string tree. All right, we're in the ballpark. All right, so now that we got that set, what we're gonna do is gonna go ahead and set each one of these strings and then start messing with the tremolo and getting that set. That is a little bit of a process I don't mind doing, but then again, I also don't mind playing and setting up Floyd Rose suspensions either. I think they all have their place. Remember, we're on the D string, under with the tag end, then over with the tag end. This one's got a string tree on it too, which I love. Now, right now I'm just bringing these strings up to tension so they stretch out a little bit. I know when I go to raise that saddle on each of these strings, it's going to sharpen the string as well. So this is just to get the string stretched out a little bit while we do initial setup. Got to be careful, sometimes these strings want to wind up on you instead of wind down. Thanks for swinging by. Me and Blake look forward to seeing you again. Say bye, Blake.